بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome to Living the Quran Through the Living Quran, a series where we have been looking and will continue to look at the chapters of the Noble Quran, a book which God revealed for the guidance of humanity over the course of 23 years, and in which the recipient of this divine book was none other than the Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessings be upon him and his noble family. In this new series, we wish to look at chapter number 56, which is known as Surah al Waqiyah, the chapter known as the chapter of the great event. Now, before we go into the verse-by-verse analysis, as has been authored by the eminent scholar Shaykh Mohsin Qara'ati in his Tafseer Noor, let us take this introductory session to better understand some of the importance of the chapter, some of the history of its revelation, and then in our next discussion we'll actually delve into the verses of this chapter of the Quran. To begin with, this chapter has 96 verses and was revealed in the city of Mecca. Now, one of the names of the day of resurrection in the Arabic is al Waqiyah, meaning an event that will definitely transpire, an event that will definitely happen. And in the first verse of this chapter, we have been informed about this definite event. And therefore, we see that this chapter was given the name of al Waqiyah. Now, a majority of the verses of this chapter speak about the resurrection and its conditions and the events. And it also divides people, humanity, into a few distinct groups. We will read about those who are destined for hell, and those who will be going to paradise on that day, on the day of judgment, on the day of resurrection, after the accounts have been taken. And therefore, reciting this chapter will help keep an individual from falling into the state of ghafla or heedlessness. Now, when Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one of the individuals who was alive at the time of the Prophet, one of the companions of the Messenger of God, when he was on his deathbed, Uthman ibn al-Affan, who later on went to become the third caliph in the history of Islam, he came to see him. He came to see Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and asked him that from your life, what grieves you and what aspirations do you have? Ibn Mas'ud replied to Uthman saying, my past sins grieve me, while I look forward to the mercy of God, the mercy of Allah. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was then asked by Uthman, is there anything that you want that I can grant it to you? Abdullah ibn Mas'ud replied, no. When I was in need, you had deprived me. And now that I am about to leave this world, what needs would I have? Uthman replied and said, so then permit me to give you something which you can then in turn pass on to your daughters to inherit from you. To this, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud replied, they too do not need anything, since I have taught my daughters something that if they follow it, they would become needless of anything else in their lives. I have advised them to recite Surah al Waqiyah, as I have heard from the noble Prophet, may God's peace and blessings be upon him and his family, that he has said, that whosoever recites this chapter, Surah al Waqiyah, every night, will never find poverty or loss affect them. With that brief introduction, we conclude this first session on our review of Surah al Waqiyah and its commentary. And in our upcoming discussions, we'll begin the verse-by-verse analysis to better understand chapter number 56 of the Noble Quran. We will look at the themes, obviously, of the Day of Judgment, the Day of Resurrection, the groups and the categories that people will be put into. And hopefully this chapter will stir us and move us to change our lives and to make sure that we are on the right path and that we fall into the category of those individuals that this chapter will speak about, who will be the successful ones on the day of resurrection. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.